Not since the night of the firstborn of Egypt did the angel of death visit the earth. Yet his services were required again in the year 701 BC. According to Jewish tradition, the angel of death was named Azrael, and a night of reckoning for the powers that be was set forth. Welcome back to the Message to Kings podcast. This is your host, Brad Heaston. After we wrapped up the Night of Azrael audio drama, we wanted to do a special episode on credits and outtakes and issue some special thanks to everyone who assisted with the project. At the end of the summer, as I was chewing on the wealth of the Hezekiah story, I had a thought of asking the audience if they want to participate in a special audio drama podcast. The story really needed an extra boost of storytelling because it's just so rich. And when it was considered to do an audience participation podcast, I could only think of a few people who would be interested. And I could ask people, but I wasn't sure how we could technically pull this off either. But I share this as maybe motivation for others. But in faith, we issued the casting call. And sometimes it's hard to know if an idea is inspired or just a good idea, but we went with it anyways, assuming every act of faith that is in God will be a success. So only 3 weeks after the casting call, there was 5 total participants who had volunteered, and about 18 characters, and I wasn't sure how it was all going to go down. In fact, I wasn't sure why we even did this in the first place. I mean, when I put it past Janelle, she was kind of like, how are you gonna pull this off, but we went with it anyways, and maybe we're gonna grab some people from church or someone on the street for minor characters. And I did recruit one neighbor though, and I confessed he wasn't a listener, but others that volunteered, they were. This neighbor was John Gillis, a retired local fire chief, for he had the perfect voice for Hezekiah. We scheduled a night with John and another friend, Russ Stewart, who volunteered. It just happened Joshua Taylor from the Assyrian War Machine podcast special was visiting Seattle, or Issaquah, Washington, for the weekend at the actual time that we had decided to meet for the recording. So 4 of us sat down, that's it, and created a plan to cover the primary characters until Joshua Taylor suggested and showed us how to do other characters. And over the course of 3 hours, 4 of us sat down and covered the hour-long script. To be honest, I was way over my head leading a bunch of guys covering such a moment, but it came together incredibly well. Brant Frost from Georgia remotely added the voice of Sennacherib as well. And it goes to show what an act of faith can do, no matter how creative or small. And I consider it an act or a testimony of faith. For acts of faith are typically compared to praying for the sick or something really impossible, but it can also apply to moments of stepping out beyond your resources and your talent level. And when Brant Frost stepped in and he asked if he could participate, he actually showed that you could record a part of the script and send it via email, and we could chop it in. So that was the creative and faith process of this episode. This is shared because maybe it means nothing to some of you, but it's shared because there has to be listeners out there that have an idea or an act of faith that I believe God has spoken to them about. That is beyond their skills or abilities, and they need to step in faith. Be inspired by this story. So if you like the Night of Azrael podcast, it's not the first one we've done. It's not the first audio drama that we've done. If you go back and want to hear another audio drama, we recommend When the Kings Go to War. Jason Watson, a professional musician, put it together, the intro to the podcast, and he's naturally gifted and he's able to put together audio dramas. This time he didn't participate. So we couldn't rely on professional help this time. So let this be a testimony, assuming you like the Night of Azrael podcast, that you can do something, you can put together something beyond your skill level if you step in faith, whether it's a work project or something creative. If God has put in your heart to write a book, record something, play something, create something beyond your skills, be obedient to what He's put in your heart by stepping in faith. So here's a list of the audio dramas that we put together on the Message to Kings podcast. In case you like the audio dramas, some may not, but if you like it, there's others out there. So the first three we're going to tell you about are basically monologues. That means it's just me telling the story for multiple voices. So we did a two-part story on Shamgar. We added in the prophet Deborah as well. It's titled 1204 BC, Shamgar and the 600 Philistines. That was pretty cool because Shamgar's got like one line in the Bible. So we created a story that tells you what could have been. There's also an actionist drama of Samson titled 1204 BC, Samson and the Gates of Gaza. There's another monologue audio drama on Goliath's brother titled 994 BC, The Revenge of Goliath. Then there's Jason Watson's awesome podcast on David titled Podcast Special When the Kings Go to War. And then we did The Night of Azrael. So find these out there if you like the audio drama format. And honestly, let us know. We've put it out there. I've had some guys that are just history junkies, hardcore history guys. I mean, they love history. They love history. They love the history. They love the Bible and everything. But they also love the audio drama format. So tell us what you think. Do you prefer one or the other? Tell us what you think. Be honest. Does it help you to understand the story better? Or does it give you a different perspective? Or if you just seriously just say, Brett, stick with the Bible and history stuff if that's your opinion. Give us your opinion. messagetokings@gmail.com. All right, so special thanks to everyone for the help on the Night of Azrael podcast. Here's the credits for all the characters. Narrator, that's the only character I did. And Israel, Hezekiah, John Gillis of Washington. Isaiah was played by Russ Stewart of Washington. Funiah, the miner, Russ Stewart of Washington. Kina, John Gillis of Washington. Rhema, Joshua Taylor of Oregon. Eliakim, Joshua Taylor of Oregon. Joah by Joshua Taylor of Oregon. Now we get to the Babylonians. Marduk-Baladan was played by Joshua Taylor of Oregon. The Egyptians, Gersori, the aide-de-camp, those were also played by Joshua Taylor. The Assyrians, Senuava, which was the Assyrian minister, that was played by Joshua Taylor of Oregon. King Sennacherib was played by Brant Frost of Georgia. And General Rabshekah and the battlefield messenger were by Joshua Taylor of Oregon. So if you think I said Joshua Taylor too much, that's what I did. I mean, he surprised all of us with this gift of changing voices. Anyone needing a commentary or audiobook read, he's your guy. Just let me know. I'll kind of refer you to him. So if you listened and you were like, oh man, I wish I could have been part of this audio drama or a future audio drama. Who knows when we'll do another one, but if you thought that and you didn't think you had the right technology, you were able to do it, or you missed the window to volunteer, I'll keep a list if you're interested in doing one. Email us at messagetokings@gmail.com. And we'll compile a list to email out when the time comes if you're interested in a future audio drama or want to support the program in any way. So we always look forward to getting to know the audience. And if you want to chat or need prayer or just email, always messagetokings@gmail.com. When four of us sat down at John Gillis's house to record the Night of Azrael, we were all a bit nervous, and I wasn't sure how we were going to possibly pull off a recording with 18 voices and four guys. And as we experimented with our voices in an attempt to pull it off, I couldn't help find myself laughing over and over at the guys, and especially Joshua Taylor. He would go from an Assyrian ambassador to playing like some very cowardly servant or something, and he would change so quickly. He caught me off guard, and I laughed so much during the recording. I have some of those outtakes, and we're going to play some of those. So whenever you record, also, it's just never perfect, and you can say the strangest things on accident, and it's great because you can pause and re-record. But when you have those on tape, you almost laugh at yourself. So my point of this is that we've got some hilarious outtakes, and we want to share with the audience, and this is how we'll end this episode. Kind of something a bit lighthearted considering how heavy the Night of Azrael is. So thank you, everyone, for the encouragement lately, assisting with this Message to Kings podcast special, and helping to make the program such a success. So here are the outtakes for the Night of Azrael podcast. And we're going to, after this podcast, we'll head into kind of the normal recordings as we get into the, actually quite an exciting time. We've got, well, Manasseh's not the most exciting character, but he's so evil. It's an interesting story. But soon after him, you've got Josiah. You got the rise of the Assyrians. They actually invade and take over Egypt. And then out of nowhere, but it's not really out of nowhere, but you have this breaking down of the Assyrian Empire, and then you get introduced to two nation states that will end up ruling the world, the future Persians and the Babylonians. And in the midst of all of this, you're going to have Josiah rising up and fighting the destruction of Jerusalem. And then you've got Daniel and Esther and Ezekiel and Jeremiah. And you've got a time where it becomes the prophets and the empires. And that's going to be so exciting. All right, so headed on in. And then we're going to have 1 week off in December as well for just kind of some family vacation time. So I have a week off there, and then some time off probably in the holidays, Christmas or New Year's. So beyond that, just kind of looking ahead. And then we'll just end here with the outtakes. Night of Azrael, Part 1, Mining Scene.
Rhema, hit it at the fissure. Right there. Hit it with the hammer. Insert this rod. Surely this will drive away the loose rocks and make progress for us.
I've got a good feeling about this. Surely they are very, very close.
Rhema, you've done it. Look, the wall is falling on the other side. You've met the other tunnel.
They've done it.
Oh, hang on. Do that one again. Sorry.
So it's supposed to be you just hit the other tunnel, right? Or you've met the other tunnel.
You went southern with your minor voice.
Is this supposed to be they done it? This was they've done it. So
They've done
supposed to be
they've done it. Yeah.
They've done it.
Well, maybe we shouldn't be so southern. That's bad.
Maybe we should do that again.
Okay. All right. Russ, do you want to
start at the first part again?
Do you want to?
Yeah. Let me. Rhema.
Rhema. I'm getting hot. I gotta say. That was better than last week.
I am Funiah, and this is Rhema. Is it Rhema?
Rhema.
You're like, wait, what's your name?
Downstream, the prophet Isaiah was standing by the pool at Siloam as it began to fill up for the first time. The greenish waters created an iridescent light gleaming around him. The prophet squatted low to the edge of the pool, reaching to touch the water. He breathed deep and looked around the pool, almost startled by what he saw. Now your real voice. Or your Isaiah voice.
My Isaiah voice. My lord, you are here.
The Assyrian scenes.
In the world, there are predators and prey, lions and rabbits. We are lions. Indeed, General. When Hezekiah dropped his partnership with us and invaded Philistia, he invited our wrath and destruction from on high. And we will see whose God is with us and what God is with Hezekiah. Rabshekah, marshal the troops, command them to march, for we will destroy Judah, and Jerusalem will be by word among the nations.
Just be but a word.
As I was, but a word.
I'll be a
Is that it for that?
Yeah.
That's the end of it.
Okay, all right. Seeing that the battle was at a stalemate, Rabshekah tries something new. This is going to be fun.
Messenger! Yes, sir. Take this message to the commander of the chariots. Tell him to find every bush and branch he can. Aid, ride back to Gaza. Make sure this message gets to my lord, the Pharaoh. Tell him if the troops... Hold on. I screwed up by too many ifs. I was like, if. Oh my God, what's happening? Chariots, hold your fire till they come within close range. Then fire and give them the lance and spear. And when you charge, yell. And when you charge, yell like furious thunder coming down from the heavens above. Take aim. Fire. Charge, chariots. Charge.
What the heck are you?
He wrote, yell like fury. So he go,
What did I say?
yell like furious fire from heaven or something. Oh, man. This was a part that was changed last minute, and I didn't get it printed.
Oh, okay.
And let me, we're almost done with it, though. After the destruction, oh gosh, I feel like I need it.
I would say after the total decimation of the Egyptians.
After the decimation of the Egyptians.
Syria, do not listen to Hezekiah. This is what the king of Assyria says. Make peace with me and come out to me. Then each of you will eat fruit from your own vine and fig tree and drink water from your own cistern. That was a weird word. And fig tree and drink water from your own cistern. Until I come and take you to a land like your own, a land of grain and new wine, a land of bread and vineyards. Do not let Hezekiah mislead you when he says, the Lord will deliver us. Have the gods of any nations ever delivered their lands from the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Hamath and Arpad? Where are the gods of Seraphim? Have they rescued Samaria from my hand? Who of all the gods of these countries have been able to save their lands from me? How then can the Lord deliver Jerusalem from my hand? I will give you until nightfall to answer me, or we begin our assault on this city. Unless you people stand against this king of yours. Man, that was awesome. That would freak me out, man.
That freaked out right now.
That's some serious stuff right there.
Yeah.